Hi everyone, this is Janelle from the customer success team at Funnel, and today I wanted to quickly show you what permissions you need to be able to configure data sources within Funnel for Shopify. So over here, we're in the main homepage for Shopify, and we would click into our settings to manage the users and permissions over here. And then I'm currently logged in as the store owner. But as you can see, I have a couple of staff members here. Here I am with my personal account. So the main thing that we need you to do to be able to configure a data source is when you click on an individual level, so say I myself with Janelle at funnel.io am trying to configure a data source, I need to have this part ticked off. So I need to be able to manage and install apps and channels. So once I have this ticked off, I should be able to just go into Funnel and install the app and configure the data source. So if you don't have this, then you won't be able to configure the data source. So make sure that that is ticked off and saved. So now I can show you of what that would look like when I go and configure a data source in Funnel. So connect to data source, Shopify, add credentials, and then here you have it. And then I would be able to install the app and configure the data source. As a side note, the Funnel app as of August 2024 is not listed in the Shopify App Store. So the way to access it is to just configure a data source, and then it immediately reroutes you to the app here to be able to be installed. So I would go ahead and install it. And then from there, I have access to the store, and I would be able to configure my data source as normal. So jumping back into the Shopify platform. So if you scroll down, you have the collaborator section. Now this is only applicable if you're utilizing Shopify partners. And so if you would like to have, for example, your agency have access to this person's store, then you can go ahead and request a code, a collaborator code, and you can go ahead and add an entire agency in this example to the specific stores. Now, as a store owner, you can choose, what levels of access that agency will have and which stores they would have access to. But this is a great way to be able to invite an entire agency instead of only being able to invite individual staff members as we have here above. Now, this part will only really be applicable if you're a part of Shopify partners, but Shopify partners also require some specific permissions that I can walk you through really quick. So once you're in Shopify partners, you'll see all the stores that you have available here. And then jumping into the team section under admin, you have the staff members here, so you can click on this one. And for that staff member to be able to configure a data source, they will also need the Manage Apps part here ticked off. And we would highly recommend that if, for example, you're an agency and you're trying to give one of your employees access to one of your clients to be able to configure a data source within Funnel, make sure that that specific employee has access to that specific store/client over here. If they don't have access, then the admin can go ahead and give them access to that specific stores, and then they'll be able to configure the data source. But we would highly, highly recommend to double check in this section over here that they have access. But that's about it for the Shopify permissions. The two main takeaways are to make sure that whichever user is trying to configure a data source within Funnel has the ability to manage apps, and that they also have access to the proper stores that they're trying to configure a data source for. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to our support team at support@funnel.io or through the in-app chat. Bye!